Many things in life, once you kind of face it, acknowledge it, and it's not just this kind of like nebulous thing in the background, but then you can begin to work with it, right? And kind of move through it versus being held back by it.
Absolutely. And when you understand that everybody struggles with those 4 core human wounds on some level, you can tap into your own brilliance and your own superpower to flip each of those wounds on its head. You have the ability to help other people feel not alone. Your superpower is to also help people feel good. You can help people feel abundant in time, resource, love, whatever it is. You can take each of these wounds and also use them as your own superpower to impact people and help them as well.
Welcome to the Firestarter Podcast. I'm Willa Kammerer. Today we're joined by Natalie Hunter. She's the Chief Transformation Officer of personalbrand.com. She's also been called the Tony Robbins of the spiritual world. And I'm just so happy to have this conversation. We're going to be talking about stepping into your next level of unlocking your next level of personal leadership. So really happy to have you here, Natalie. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Willa. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So your work cuts across, a few different kind of approaches and disciplines. I'd love you to kind of like share how you work with people really in unlocking that next level and kind of like why they're all important.
Yeah, I got started in this world in 2004. I began my career as a motivational speaker. So that's when I say I really started to study energy, impact, influence, and what motivates people and change leadership from the inside out. And I had to learn really quick because when you're in front of an audience and paid, and it was teenagers at the time, you have to get really good at entertaining and understanding the energy and understanding where people are coming from in order to lead them, but really truly help them understand leading themselves to make positive choices and lean into their impact. So I really started this in this world a long time ago. And I ended up going to coaching school in 2017 because after my career was really going national, I was doing so much speaking from stage. People were asking me too, like, can you work with me? How do I work with you? And I'd already also been in my own spiritual transformation. I found my first spiritual teacher in 2009. And I was really studying energy and transformation too on a personal level. So when I went to coaching school, I began to marry the two. Mm-hmm. I put together my coaching skill set with the skill set of the energetic and spiritual transformation. And I remember there was this pivotal moment sitting in coaching school. I was studying, we were in person at this event, and I was studying a coaching conversation. And they said, this is an example of a coaching conversation that's a successful coaching conversation. And just watching it, I remember thinking, that guy's energy hasn't shifted though. He's saying different words. He wants to do things differently in his life, but his energy hasn't changed. So he's not going to change. He's not really in it, right?
Yeah,
he's not actually going to make that shift. And I realized, there was way more to it. And I just clocked it, didn't say anything, but I started to coach with that in mind. And eventually it evolved into my work. I ended up creating my own coaching methodology based on energy and supporting our clients and really leaning into their own era of influence through their energetic blueprint and understanding their own energy and impact and then how it impacts others. And that is under the umbrella of personalbrand.com. So I get to support our clients as they come in to create their next level brand, but really go through that inner transformation and step into their next level of, I always say, shining your light and sending out your ripple in the world.
I love that. So let's decode this kind of like energy word. When you say energy, what do you mean by that? I think, I'd love for you to kind of deconstruct that and also why it's so important.
Absolutely. A lot of people say, I don't have energy for things, right? You'll hear people say, oh, I don't have the energy for that, or oh, I'm exhausted. I don't have energy today. But the truth is we are all energy. You don't have energy. You are energy. We are all life force energy in motion. Right? As long as you have breath in your lungs, you are life force energy in motion. So then the question becomes, where is your life force energy going? consciously or unconsciously. So the work that I do is based on understanding the energetic structure that is keeping your current reality in place. Mm-hmm. There are lots of things happening underneath the surface for people vibrationally that are keeping their current reality being created on a loop. And that is mostly unconscious. Sometimes people come into our world and they're a little bit aware of what's happening or what's holding them back. But in reality, there are things going on underneath the surface that are keeping the reality in the way it is, like in this tight kind of structure. And when we support people in expanding that awareness and shifting through our different levels of transformation, their energy begins to go where they want it to go consciously now, instead of unconsciously trying to create something or, keep themselves safe or whatever's happening. Their energy, all of their life force energy goes to creating the impact that they want to have. So in reality, we don't have energy, we are energy. So then it becomes a matter of where is your energy going and what reality is your life force energy creating on this planet.
I love that. So, we both work in the brand space, really helping people kind of step into that next level of leadership. I'd love to hear, your take on kind of like the relationship between kind of like the inner work and the outer work. Mm-hmm. I find that often working a little bit on the external, kind of like the brand presence and the kind of like polish and the alignment between, who they are and kind of like the brand presence, that process too can kind of like pull people up into that next stage kind of themselves, almost like they're not able to kind of like get there without kind of like seeing that kind of like external like visualization of it. I'd love to just like hear your kind of like reflections on that.
Yeah. At personalbrand.com, we have a 3-pronged approach to building a personal brand. We talk about it like building a whole person approach and taking a whole person approach to building your brand. We talk about your brand as the car, the outside of the car and the make, the model, the color that people see. And it's not just your visual components, it's the messaging, it's how you talk about what you do too. Your business behind your personal brand is what we call the engine. And then the being, which is the work that I do, is the person who's got their foot on the gas. You can either have your foot on the gas or you can have your foot on the brake. So at personalbrand.com, we really work with the brand, the business, and the being, the 3-pronged approach. And in this is such an exciting discussion for us right now too. It's very potent with all of our clients because in this day and age, we're being inundated with AI content everywhere. Yes. There's an influx of artificial people on the internet, artificial content on the internet. And as consciousness is rising on the planet, more and more souls are waking up. More and more people are becoming aware of what's real and what's not. I always say that, especially to our clients, I say that if you're using AI, you're trained in this world using AI right now is actually training people to spot inauthenticity. It's really training people to go, oh, that smells inauthentic. That smells like BS. I can't do that. And as consciousness rises on the planet, more and more people are going to be becoming, meters for that. They're going to be going, wait a sec, I don't want anything to do with that. I want to feel that person. I want to feel the person behind the brand. I want to feel their heart, their soul, and their energy. And all of these older tactics from, the early internet marketing days with, manipulative tactics and sales pages and all those things are going to be shifting and really dying out as well in the next few years. And if you're building a personal brand, it's your person, right? It's completely your energy, your ripple that's going to be out there. So we are really supporting people to upgrade your own frequency. Because if people feel fear in you, they feel frustration in you, they feel resentment, they feel anger in you, they're gonna also pull back as well. So they're looking for inauthenticity, incongruency in your message and in your energy too. So when we're helping people build their brands, we're really supporting them to understand, what's going on the inside is going to be felt on the outside by your people as well. So you got to shift and clean that up for the next level of impact, especially in this next generation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the that authenticity that is no AI can recreate. And so that becomes like the X factor, right? When you're really starting with who the person is and that's irreplaceable. So completely agree. And, building I love that you have being as part of that, triad, because that's the foundation of everything.
Truly. And we always say too, authenticity can go both ways. You can be authentically angry. You can be authentically scared. You can be authentically resentful too. And that energy is going to come out. So let's make sure that you're sitting at your true nature, your true high vibrational self all of the time when you're communicating, right? So that comes through your desire to help, your frequency, and you're free of any of your own restrictions when you're going into help other people with theirs.
Can you talk about the relationship between kind of doing the inner work and kind of like coming into, congruence, alignment with, being as part of the brand and the business, and then the ripple effect, your ability to then influence and impact and expand your impact and lead, at a transformational level? What's that relationship between kind of like doing that work oneself and then being able to have that level of impact with others?
Yeah, there's so many different areas that it really impacts. It impacts your capacity to receive and also be an energetic match for what it is you're trying to create. Because again, everything is energy. We are energy. A lot of people, especially with the kind of manifestation culture in the world and spiritual worlds, people can manifest or create something very quickly right now, but can you hold it? Are you the energetic match for what it is that you say you want? And I've heard hundreds and hundreds of stories over the years too of people who create the relationship, they create the money, but they're not a genuine energetic match to hold it. So then it runs right out. So they're not able to be actually sitting at the level of success of the thing that they really want. And so that's the biggest thing we see in our work is people are desiring this thing. And I always say you desire it because your soul is meant to have it and create it here on the earth. Your desires are not by accident. Your desire is very closely linked to your intuition. So if you're desiring to have this thing, it's because your intuition is guiding you toward that thing. We always say, I don't desire to be an astronaut, right? I desire to do this work and work with people and coach people and be in their space with them. My desire is closely linked to my intuition. Same with you. That your intuition is guiding you to where you're supposed to be. So I always tell people the desire is not the problem. It's your relationship to the desire too, and your relationship to that thing once it materializes. So I've seen countless examples of people coming into our world that are trying to create this thing and they're not able to hold it. They get a glimmer of it, a second of it, and then it's not in their reality for very long. And at the same time, we have so many examples of people that we've been able to support. My clients call me the energetic chiropractor because I'll come in and kind of help energetically adjust them. And they're suddenly getting a dramatic result right away. Like after, I have so many examples too. After a session, somebody was able to then create 50,000 followers on TikTok. After a few hours with me, somebody was able to calibrate to a multi-six-figure book deal. There's just so many and different. I help catalyze the next level of your soul's curriculum, truly. So whatever it is that you're meant to have is actually not that far off. That's the biggest thing. It's just a couple of degrees. And if you can shift your energy, you can shift your frequency, genuinely shift it, not just, oh, I want to manifest this and have this to have it. No, genuinely shift to be an energetic match for it because you're already close to it, because you desire it. You can shift just ever so slightly during our processes. You actually genuinely become that match for what it is you're trying to create.
I'd love to make this kind of tangible and actionable for our listeners. Do you have how does someone know, kind of what their kind of current energetic state is, and if it's kind of on course or off course, for that desire?
So one of the tools that we use a lot in our workshops is the Hawkins scale of consciousness, which is, I don't know if you've ever seen it, if your listeners are familiar with it, but it's a beautiful scale that helps to categorize human emotion into vibration. So that's a really good tool to use to help understand maybe in certain areas of your life, where am I sitting in fear? Where am I sitting in anger? Where am I sitting in more joy? Where am I sitting in more acceptance, courage, etc.? and really get honest with yourself too. And I always say too, we do need to have these discussions with other people, have a mirror, have somebody in your world holding this up, because we have blind spots. We can't see ourselves clearly. So get in a discussion with somebody, get into an honest, beautiful, mirrored, safe container to have these discussions, and do this work too, because that's really going to hold you accountable for it and accountable to your next level result. But the truth is, you really have to get honest with yourself and understand, where am I pushing this thing away because I'm afraid? Now, I have 4 core human wounds I'll share in just a second, something I've downloaded over the years to help people get a little tool and assessment as well. But getting really really honest with yourself and going, hey, where am I afraid of my next level? Where am I actually really uncomfortable in my current state? Because that's a big thing we see with our clients. They're not actually paying attention to how uncomfortable they are because they've distracted themselves. Mm-hmm. You know, we're up against all these crazy distractions like social media and streaming services and all these things on this earth right now. And it's part of the design to kind of keep us distracted, keep us not remembering our brilliance and not on path. So a lot of the work that we do is creating containers for people to get honest, get clear, and get present to what the actual circumstances are right now. Where is fear? And where is that discomfort? Because the discomfort is going to guide you to where your next level is pointing you. So I have another tool too, which is the 4 core human wounds that I call. I've downloaded this over the years through my work and through my study. And the 4 core human wounds you'll actually find are across the human experience. You'll see this in clients, you'll see this in friends, see this in yourself. And this is where the patterns really start to arise from, these 4 core human wounds. So the first one is, I am bad and wrong. Feeling on some level, I am bad, I'm not going to do it right, or I'm going to mess it up. I am not safe, which is a little different flavor. It's not safe here on earth. I am not safe. I am alone. And that is, again, a little different flavor. Like, I'm alone. I'm going to be left alone. People are going to leave me. And so I am bad and wrong. There's not enough. There's not enough is the 4th one. There's not enough. Not I am not enough, but there is not enough, which is linked to scarcity. There's not enough time. There's not enough money. There's not enough air. And these 4 core human wounds, I go into more depth about them in our work, but they actually stem from your soul coming into this human experience. So these are unique to the human experience. So you can ask yourself these questions. Where am I operating differently because I don't feel safe? And I say differently, I mean differently than my soul's highest expression. Where am I pulling back because I feel alone, or I'm going to be left alone, or I feel like I'm going to be judged? Where am I terrified to move forward because I don't feel like there's enough resource or time or energy, etc.? Right? You start to ask yourselves these questions based on these woundings. You're going to get clues to the energetic structure that's currently holding your reality in place. And people are doing a lot of different things based on these woundings, but it all comes down to those 4 core human wounds.
Do you find that people kind of like tend to lead with one of them? Like, is there kind of like a ranking, or do you think that like they kind of tend to show up differently in different parts of life?
Every once in a while, you see one that's super present during a certain time in someone's life, because your curriculum is always kind of shifting and changing as you do this work and you evolve. Sometimes there's different wounds that present a little bit more than the others. But at the end of the day, you'll find that most of your patterns link to a degree of all 4 core human wounds at once. And it's a very interesting web and map, not meant to overwhelm, but meant to give you more awareness and help you go, wow, like I see where this grid is keeping me smaller than I'm truly meant to be.
Yeah. And I think like many things in life, once you kind of face it, acknowledge it, and it's not just this kind of like nebulous thing in the background, but then you can begin to work with it, right? And kind of move through it versus being held back by it.
Absolutely. And when you understand that everybody struggles with those 4 core human wounds on some level, you can tap into your own brilliance and your own superpower to flip each of those wounds on its head. You have the ability to help other people feel not alone. Your superpower is to also help people feel good. You can help people feel abundant in time, resource, love, whatever it is. You can take each of these wounds and also use them as your own superpower to impact people and help them as well.
I love that. Yeah. And being able to kind of pinpoint it at other people and like not kind of probably like internalize it as much, you know, it's
Absolutely.
not on you. It's
not take it as
everybody.
personally.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally. And if you want to be of massive impact in this world, it's about understanding that too, that when you're shining your light is going to have an impact on people. It's the light that might be shining on something that somebody doesn't want to see or something that they're uncomfortable with within themselves. It's not actually personal. But yes, take responsibility for your light and know what's happening. But at the same time, it's people's relationship to the light and their own stuff that you're really feeling the response to.
Yeah. So this is like pivoting a little bit, but, you know, we're both kind of in the personal brand space, helping people, you know, really step into that next level of personal brand leadership. I personally believe that it's one of the most powerful investments that we can make is to do this work, to build the kind of the presence and to really kind of do the thing, follow the path that one is meant to follow in one's life, you know, do your greatest work. Because I think it gives you a level of kind of like independence. There's a lot of change in this world. It's a very dynamic time, but if you build a platform based on the work that you're meant to do, you know, it gives you the ability to call your own shots and, you know, much more agency. I'd love your take on that. You know, why now? Why build a personal brand?
Absolutely. I'm going to speak to it from a high soul perspective. Yes. Is that okay? Okay, awesome. I talk to our clients at Personal Brand about this. The way I see it is your soul's here having this beautiful human experience, but your soul also came here to reach people, to accomplish things, and to also, you know, go through your own human curriculum, but to have that impact. And it's actually contractually written. You wrote out soul contracts to say, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to write this book, and I'm going to help people with this. And I always see it like a beautiful grouping of souls just waiting for you and the promises that you made to create an impact, to create a ripple here on earth. And that is the calling that people feel. You know, we help people become very aware of that and aligned to that calling. There's a big reason, many, many, many reasons why you're here, but a big reason that you came, and that's to shine your light. So that is the real calling that you're feeling underneath this desire to build a personal brand. You're feeling the people that are waiting for your ripple. They're waiting for the piece of information, the code that you have, the light that you're here to shine, to support them. And that is something that it's really, you know, I hear a lot of people, especially in the spiritual world, say, oh, I have free will. I don't have to do this. I don't have to step in and build a brand. I don't have to do these things. But truly, our free will component for people who are contracted to help a lot of people, your free will component doesn't really lie in whether you're going to do it or not. You're going to do it. You promised you were going to do it in some way,
and
shape,
if you
or
feel
form.
That inkling,
yes, you're meant to do it, but it's the free will component for us is whether you put your foot on the gas or you put your foot on the brake. It's how fast you do it. It's how fast you lean into it. And there are people waiting for you. So if you're feeling the call, if you're feeling that desire to build your brand and to shine your light and to step into that next level of impact, it's because there are people waiting for you to do it, and you can trust that.
And I think that takes it off the pressure off of the self, you know, and I think you are meant to have this impact for other people, and think of, you know, the lives you're meant to change and what they'll be missing out if you don't step into that for yourself.
Yes,
so.
it's ego dissolution, you know, it's ego work, but it's also dissolving of the ego that finally gets you to a place where you are able to move your light through you unobstructedly for what it's meant to do here on this earth. Yeah.
Well, such a great conversation, Natalie. Thank you so much for joining me here.
Thanks for having me.
How can our listeners find you and your work?
Awesome. Natalie Hunter Live on the social media channels, nataliehunterlive.com too. We'll tell you a little bit more about me. And also you can sign up for a couple of workshops we have coming up, our personal brand workshops and transformational leadership type offerings. And my podcast is also called The Next Conscious Leader. So lots of resources to support if you're feeling called.
Awesome. They'll all be linked in the show notes. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the Firestarter Podcast. You can find us at thefirestarterpodcast.com. You can subscribe on my YouTube channel, Willa Kammerer, and find me on LinkedIn and Instagram at the same name. And thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to the next conversation.